Welcome to Roberts County, Texas, one of the least populated counties in all of Texas. And there's a lot of counties in Texas, and there's a lot of counties that are very small in population. This is one of them. We're up in the Texas Panhandle, and I've done some other videos on very small counties, actually smaller than this one, but this county only has one incorporated town, the town of Miami. And you may have seen a video I already had done about Miami, and that'd give you a little introduction to the area if you haven't seen that already. But we're going to explore the rest of the county. And like I said, there are no other incorporated towns. There are only a handful of post offices in the history of this county. So I think we're going to find a lot of wide open spaces in the back roads, and a place like Roberts County is probably going to be even more back roads than normal. As I'm sitting here at the county line, there's a historical marker sign that says about a mile away there's a historical marker. So hopefully there's some things like that can give us some more history. But as we start heading towards that first spot, let me tell you a little bit more about Roberts County. The county was named for two Texans with the surname Roberts, John and Orrin Roberts. In the early 18th century, the Apaches were in this area, but they were pushed out by the Comanches, who dominated here until 1870s. Federal troops in the Red River War removed them in 1875. In 1876, Roberts County was created from Bexar County, but not officially organized yet. The first settler also arrived that year, with the first ranch established in 1877. Stagecoach stand at the site of future Miami was set up in 1879. There were only 32 people in the entire county in 1880, all working on the ranches. In 1887, the railroad came through and Miami was platted. The county was finally organized in 1889. Miami was eventually chosen as the county seat, but I'll talk about that interesting story later in the video. The economy centered on cattle and wheat farming. The number of cattle increased to a peak of nearly 50,000 in 1930. Corn, oats, and cotton were also grown at different times. The Dust Bowl and Great Depression dealt hard blows to the farmers. Oil was discovered in 1945. Roberts County is the scene of a recent battle for water rights where the city of Amarillo, the Canadian River Municipal Water Authority, and T. Boone Pickens have sought to purchase the water rights within the county. Between the three, they own 80% of the rights. The first dot on my map here it says Lora, and there was no post office that I could find here, but it has the historical marker, talks about fossils. So obviously this was a place where, that was a significant thing. There's a cattle company old sign here. I think there's a lot of that probably in Roberts County that we'll find as we go around. I can see cattle across the street. So not too much to find here, although pretty interesting about the fossils. Pretty quick, we're into the county seat of Miami, Texas, and like I mentioned, I did a video about this already, so if you're wanting to follow along, or if you want to stop and follow along exactly on the trip, this would be where you'd want to stop and watch that video. Very cool town, and most of the population of the county lives here. Well, my first adventure down a real back road to try to find an old post office failed as I came up. I was heading down Coldman Lane, which goes to where Codman used to be on the railroad. Man, we ran into some beautiful roads, but a big hole in the road. So normally I would probably give that a chance, but it's so early in the day, I don't want to get stuck. And I think we're going to have more off-road adventures coming up. But, Coldman had a post office for about a decade in the late 1800s and early 1900s. And obviously it being on the railroad was probably the reason. And one of the few post offices. So I was disappointed I couldn't get down there, but it probably wasn't much to see except just the railroad. early impressions of Roberts County. The road that I'm on is nice, you know, and something that made me chuckle is that a lot of times you'll come up to a road and it'll have like an arrow pointing to a town, like, you know, this way for the town. And there's no towns, so they have those same signs that you would think would be a town. It's just what road is coming up. And they have it for most of the roads, and they're all, you know, these little back roads. And so it's kind of funny that, you know, they're, instead of a town, there's nothing else to put signs for. They put up signs for the roads. We've been driving on Route 282 west, and now we've intersected with 70, which is the main road that goes north and south through Roberts County. And here at the intersection is where Wayside used to be, and there's a school that's here. They have a nice historical marker. So I'll give you the gist of what the historical marker says. Settlers came to this locality in 1876. And we had talked about earlier, the county was organized in 1889, so 13 years before that. Pioneer School District number 5 originated by court order in 1890 to serve this area with schools known as Talahone, Pool, and Wayside, taught usually in homes. In 1914, Frederick Foster gave this 2-acre school site to the county. District bought materials. They erected the 28 by 36 foot schoolhouse. It became the focus for the community for elections, church services, and other activities, as well as housing the school. In 1929, high school students were transferred by bus into Pampa, which is a larger city. Now it's like 16,000 people. But in 1929, the high school students were transferred down to Pampa in another county. And by 1934, all grades were transferred to different schools. We've basically been in the southeastern part of Roberts County, and 70, like I said, is the kind of north-south main road that takes you up all the way from Wayside, which is about a mile from the county line, or maybe less, and all the way up to the northern edge. So let's just see what this main road through Roberts County looks like. This Highway 70 is a really pretty drive. There's not much of anything. A couple houses, a lot of evidence of the oil industry. You got some really beautiful, you know, mountain/hills on each side, but 70 is pretty flat, just a little bit of rolling hills. We are going to get over there, I think. We're going to hit more back roads a little bit later here, but some really pretty driving here on Highway 70. And that's basically the end of Highway 70. We're gonna go up into Ochiltree County and then kind of wind around and now go, instead of from south to north, we're gonna go from west to east along River Road. There's the Canadian River goes through this county. And so there's a North River Road that I don't think is paved. So hopefully it'll go through some pretty cool areas, but we'll just have to go check it out and see. apparently that's a ranch and you can't go in there. It says trespassers will be prosecuted over here on this little sign. So we'll have to go back a different way. Well, if you look at the map, there's, you know, this river road, kind of a west and an east, and heading down this way was gonna connect with the west part of that river road and then go cross 70 and then head east. Most of it is east of 70, it looks like. So I guess all I can do, because I don't know any of these back roads I might take to head down that way, I'm probably gonna run into the same issue. So I'm just gonna go back around to 70, go back down, and then head east on the river road. Hopefully we can get some good sights over there. I come all the way back down here, turn on River Road East, and the same no trespassing signs are there. So I tried to call the sheriff's office just to ask, like, you know, it kind of looked like a regular road. It had a speed limit sign, and a little confusing because it didn't seem like, if you weren't really looking, you wouldn't see those signs. And they just look like regular back roads that you might find. And so I called the sheriff's department. Someone in a different county picked up because there's no one working today in the Roberts County Sheriff's Department. And they didn't quite know the answer if I could drive down that road, but they said there's no trespassing sign. It's probably best to not go down that road, just to make sure. He said, just so we're not getting any calls of crazy things happening. So while it would probably be fine to go down there, you know, I'm always, you know, mostly always obeying signs like that. So it I was, you know, a little disappointing not to go down there. So maybe somebody can comment about the river road and if it's cool or not. Highway 70 that goes north and south is fairly busy in Roberts County, but when you get off onto the other paved roads like this one, I think it's this 283, you don't see any traffic. And so I can stand in the middle of the road here and yeah, don't see much. But right here, there's a historical marker, probably one of the last things we're gonna find of historical significance about the ghost town of Parnell. And let me tell you a little bit about the crazy story of Parnell as is told on the historical marker here. An 1889 election to organize the county was invalidated by fraudulent voting. However, the disqualified officers opened a courthouse in a vacant store in Miami, the county seat according to the contested election, and placed the records in a heavy safe. The legally elected authorities later obtained the records by hiring a gunman to impersonate a landowner and to capture the safe when it was opened. Hauled to the legal county seat near this site, the safe was set on blocks and a two-story frame courthouse was built around it. First known as Bennett and then as Orrin, the town was renamed Parnell when the post office opened in 1890. Parnell had a few businesses, 12 residences, a school, and a saloon. Guests would ride 25 to 30 miles to attend dances in the courthouse. Those attending court in Parnell had to camp out as the hotel was small. Miami became the county seat in 1898, and Parnell was abandoned. There's one last road, I'll show you my map, that I don't know, I'm going to take a chance on. Probably going to be no trespassing again, but it's Quarterhorse Road, and it goes up and becomes South River Road. And I had the issues earlier with North River Road, so I'm guessing at some point here I'll see the same issues, but there's really not much left to try to explore, and I've gone down most of the roads I can, so let's head up Quarterhorse Road and see what we can find. I'm not finding much down this road, but it's an okay road. It's a little bumpy, and there's signs on the side, like side roads, cattle guard. I've gone over a ton of cattle guards, but there's signs like no trespassing on these like side roads. But this one, it's a big wide road that it must be like a clay or something, because it's not very dusty, just a little bit, but it's pretty hard and there's not a lot of rocks, so it's an okay road to drive on. I just don't know if I'll be able to go out the other end. I like the name Quarterhorse Road. It makes me think that there was a reason they named that, but all I've seen are cattle up this road so far. So this is where Quarterhorse Road turns into South River Road East. Earlier we were trying to go on North River Road, and we weren't able to, but they have a sign here, 13 miles to Canadian, which is in the next county to the east. So it's a nice sign, kind of out here in the middle of nowhere. There's a McMorty headquarters, so there's a house that way. There's a cross over here on the side of the road. I don't know what that means, but yeah, we're only a few miles from the county line going this way, so we're gonna hopefully get to the end of our video out on the eastern side of the county. I was not expecting there to be a county line sign here at the end of the county, especially on a back road like this. So this obviously marks the end of our little trip through Roberts County. It was different, very, very different. And it's beautiful. This is a beautiful county. So, obviously I was trying to get on some other roads to explore, and I could probably see the roads over there. I could almost see it, because if this is South River Road, there's North River Road on the other side over there. And so I wish I could have gone down that road, but oh well. I still went through some really, really beautiful parts of Roberts County. You have a terrific county seat here, and it's just a unique experience to come to a place like this. And when it's such a small populated county, especially when like 60 to 70% of the people live in one little area. The rest of the county is, obviously there's a lot of oil production out here. And just very interesting. There were a couple other post offices. Who knows where they were? I definitely don't. So if anybody knows where these post offices were, feel free to put them in the comments. And I really had a good time. What did you think of Roberts County? It's like the 8th least populated county in Texas. And really, really beautiful. Some awesome paved roads through some interesting places, and certainly the Quarterhorse Road to the South River Road heading into Hemphill County was pretty great too. Railroad. Oh. Used to be, and there's a school that's here. They have a nice historical marker, so I'll give you the gist of what the historical